In this section of the truck, guys, I have the brazing outfit and all the gas. We have two different nitrogen containers. One is a backup for the first. We have oxygen acetylene torch, which I do all my brazing with oxygen acetylene. I also have the spare oxygen and spare acetylene in the back. You can't see the acetylene, but it is back there. I have a little bit of copper in the back as well. I carry every size from 3/8 up to 7/8, a full roll. And then whenever a roll is depleted, I pick up a new roll. It comes in real handy when making repairs and when they're hooking up condensers and heat pumps and stuff. This is my brazing outfit. Turbo skill set. It's been around for a long time, at least 10-15 years or so. I have a roll of little paper to sand off the pipes with. Just bought a new one actually, I'm about to run out. At the top I have some rags. Keep all my rags in there. Just replaced one of the regulators after a long time of not having done it. In the bottom I have my flow gauge, Lennox pipe cutters, striker. I have some more sandpaper down in there. Just carry all the knickknacks, and hopefully I want to carry any tray. I'll just have my turbo skill taken up to wherever I'm brazing, and most of my supplies will be in here. If I need any fittings, I'll put them in there. But most of the time I don't use fittings anymore. I use the Hilmor Swager and the Yellow Jacket bender. I also have my Pro Bubble in here. It's taken a hit, broken off the top of it, but as long as it's still working, I'll keep it. Find all my leaks with this. If I'm not using a leak detector, put some nitrogen on it. There's a couple things of nitrogen. Just got a new nitrogen regulator not too long ago, and it's already leaking. The old one lasted 15 years, the new one lasted 15 minutes, it felt like. But that's how it is. Have to replace it or fix it. In this area I have a lot of install tools, screwdrivers, miscellaneous stuff I work with sheet metal, because I don't use it a whole lot, but I have to have a tray to keep it in. That way I can take the tray out of the truck and I can leave whatever tools I want behind and take the rest of the tray with me if I want. It's all being illuminated by my Christmas present from my brother. It is a light. As you see, it can be bent, has a magnet on it, has a hook on the top. It's real nice. It deserves its own video probably. There's some mastic. In the back I have some pando straps, have some metal hanging strap, some cloth hanging strap. I have some unit risers in the back, and it's basically install stuff for duct work or for setting a heat pump. I'll go into here and get my install stuff, which I don't use a whole lot, but I need to keep a little bit on the truck in case there's a duct that's ripped. I need to repair, things of that nature, because I do see that from time to time. I also have my sheet metal benders. I have a 24 and a 12. And also carry the machete in here because sometimes I need to clear some crap away from the unit, so I'll need something to clear it away with. But the benders come in real handy making sheet metal fittings on site. I usually keep a little bit of metal in the truck, although I don't have a lot now, but I always like to keep a little bit just in case I need it. This particular section is split into sort of 3 different parts. At the very top you have a bunch of screws and fasteners. I'll have nuts and washers, different kinds of bolts, the Sammies for hanging 3/8 all thread rod, different size screws, boot nails, and some stainless steel screws in case I want to build a stand for a condenser. On the middle shelf is my PVC box. I got this box so it will fit into the compartments on my truck. It has most of the fittings I need for doing a drain, which is the only thing I'm using PVC for is air conditioning drains. So I don't need a whole lot of material for it, but I do like to keep some in stock when I'm working on it. At the bottom is my JB Platinum 7 CFM vacuum pump. It's been a real good pump. Directly behind it you can see the hoses coiled up. The hoses have flare unions on them, so they are not exposed to the atmosphere. I can make sure they don't get any dirt on them. But this pump has been a very good pump. Just a little bit closer look at it, you can see that it has the 2 3/8 ports on this one and a 1/4. My micron gauge goes on to 1/4. The 2 hoses go on to 3/8, and the hoses are 3/8 by 1/4 inch flare. This box is really simple. It holds R410A, R22, and my little Diversitech flush kit. Most of the time I don't actually use flush because I think it's a big crock, but I will put nitrogen into it with some flush if I have a problem with a contaminated refrigerant circuit, like from a burnout or something like that, I will use flush for that. But for a retrofit from R22 to R410A, there will be no flush kit involved. I typically carry 2 jugs of both refrigerants. They're not always on the van at the same time. These 2 are, just because I guess they happen to fit in here. But the R22, I have one here and one back at the shop. Way over here. And there are some different refrigerants I have which I don't carry on the truck at all, like R134. And I have some R438A, that's MO99. This is the money drawer. It has all the testing equipment except for the Testo 320 because it doesn't fit on any of the bins. I actually have the Testo 320 riding in the truck. This has quite a bit of equipment. We can take them out and take a short look at each one of them. The first box is a Plano pistol case, which I carry my manifold probes in. I do really enjoy the probes. They come in very handy. I don't use them as much in the wintertime, but they still come in handy in the wintertime for doing several activities. And now Imperial has actually added some features for testing heat pumps, which does make them more handy in the wintertime. But that's the case I keep those in. It's an old pistol case. Most of us know what this is, the Bloodhound. Thanks to my good buddy Ralph, it is the H10 leak detector. I really do enjoy using it quite a bit. Let's see here. Haven't used it much lately because we're in the winter months, but she has been the best leak detector I've ever owned. And if she dies tomorrow, I'll be buying another one the day after tomorrow. This is the Zebra Stat, one of my favorite tools. Basically, I use it to control units from a remote location, so I don't have to go to the thermostat. I've used this quite a bit. In North Carolina, there are quite a few package units. Whenever I do a rooftop package unit, this is a pretty valuable tool. This is my micron gauge and the case. The case is actually for an old CPS leak detector. It's falling apart. Here's my micron gauge. It is Best Tech, but it's essentially a JB micron gauge, and I have no problems with this gauge at all. I've had it for a few years now, and it's been perfect. I think I got it in 2012, but it's a very good gauge. This is the Fieldpiece dual port manometer. I use this for both static pressure and gas pressure. On the first episode, One Man Show, I used this for static pressure, but I also use it for my gas pressure readings. I also have an old Yellow Jacket one I use as well. It will do a good job of both. I do believe there's a new version of this that tests pressure switches, but this is not that. And of course, these are the static pressure tubes. They only check static pressure, but it's perfect for me. This is the Hilmor Orbital Flare. I say that slowly so I can say it correctly. For some reason, my mouth doesn't want to say orbital. It's a great flaring tool. Really nice. I haven't got to use it a whole heck of a lot because I don't do a whole lot of mini splits or LP gas piping, but it comes in handy when I need it. This is the Fieldpiece STA2 Induct Hot Wire Anemometer. I use this not very often at all. I have the DAFM3 where I take air velocity or air CFM at the registers. I use that a whole lot more. It's a nice tool. If I had more sections of straight duct, I would definitely use it, but in the climate where I live, it's just easier and more feasible to do it at the return grill. This is the Universal Zebra Instruments. I have this. You can check ECM motors. There's the old GE 2.3, X13, and we have this one for Gentech 3.0. It's still in the box, which is where it's always been. I've used this from time to time. It is not as advanced as the variable speed Zebra, which Zebra Instruments makes, but this is sort of a, let's see, a lower cost version of a way to check ECM motors, which I have used on occasion. Here's a few more of the tools, a couple small ones. This is the gas pressure test kit from Uniweld. It's the one I used before I had the digital version. I still use it from time to time because it works just fine. We have the Supco Mega Ohm Meter M500. I use that to test motors and find ground faults. And this is a fuel oil test kit, which I don't use very often at all, but I got a super deal on it. A guy had, I don't know, purchased it or won it or something, and he sold it to me for $10. And for $10, I'll pretty much buy pretty much any tool on the planet. This is the DAFM3. This is my go-to meter for airflow. Like I said, I don't use the Fieldpiece very often, the induct version. I use these at the grills because most of my airflow readings are made in a service capacity. It's real easy to do that. It's real common in my part of the country for the return grills to be the best way to get airflow, because I don't have long straight sections of ductwork that are good for measuring airflow with the STA2. So typically I'll use this. I know there's actually a newer version of this out, the DAFM4. I just do not have that one yet because this one works pretty good. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is my Milwaukee inspection scope. I've had several inspection scopes, starting with Chicago from Harbor Freight. That was a loser. I had a Ryobi small lithium battery powered scope. That also was a loser. This Milwaukee version is a very good scope. It can take the different temperatures, take the abuse that I'm going to put it through. It has been a good scope so far. So definitely I would suggest getting this one. And I think a lot of guys like the rigid version as well. Hello, little girl one. What do you think Anna and Elsa would do? Service or installation?
Service.
Little girl one, do you think that you could free Pooh Bear from a hole by using WD-40 or Aerocroil?
Aerocoil.
Little girl one, do you think that the best heat source for our climate is heat pump or fuel furnace?
Fuel furnace.
In this particular drawer I have an extra drum of R22, oddly placed in there. And 2 recovery cylinders, one for R22 and one for R410A, or that is the intention. A couple tubes of caulk, both of those are high temperature RTV. And we have a few ball valves that I can replace service valves with in a pinch, and a dryer if I need one. Pretty simple. Just basically for the recovery stuff, and add a few things on there that are refrigerant related. This drawer has all of the capacitors, dual run capacitors and single run capacitors. I am trying to buy all the USA made capacitors now to sort of test them out, see if they're more durable and worth the increased price. I also have a couple circuit boards I keep in stock, and there's some tools along the bottom there we'll open up and take a look at. Most of my circuit boards are ICM. We have a primary control here, and that's basically for one of my few oil customers, because oil parts are hard to come by. So I like to have a couple parts in stock for them for when they have an issue. Believe it or not, I know a lot of you guys are pretty used to parts like this, but down here they don't really stock them. I have a blower control board for a Goodman, but you can retrofit it for a whole lot of applications. We've all seen this board before. A defrost control also for a Goodman. I just like the ICM brand better. I kind of trust them better. And if I have to use a defrost board in a pinch, I can use this one for a lot of different applications. This is the ICM 255C, which is used in a lot of train units that I've seen personally, and a few more that I have not seen personally. And it has a 1 second on delay and 60-second off. This is just a regular old Payne Carrier Bryant defrost controller as well. I just had an extra one, but I do run into that one every now and then. So I try to keep a few things in stock there. There's also a outdoor thermostat back there, some liquid tape spray, and there's an Imperial 3-in-1 bender that I use quite a bit in a service application, not install, and some paint brushes and those cork mounting pads you can put underneath condensers if you don't want to use heat pump risers. This is the Hilmor compact swage. This instrument is awesome. I've used this heavily on every single job where copper is involved. This tool has come out. I love the tool. Believe it or not, I actually won the tool in a raffle. I don't know if I would actually have bought it so soon because it is expensive, but I am so glad that I was lucky that day. We can swage everything from 3/8 to 7/8, and it does a good job with all the tasks that I put in front of it. This is the Yellow Jacket tubing bender. It is not a compact bender like the Hilmor. It does have a reverse bending mandrel, so you can sort of bend an inside out style bend. Just in case you can't get it to ratchet in that particular position, you can reverse it and ratchet it downward instead, which is really nice. The dies are plastic and not metal like the Hilmor, so I think I would rather have metal dies because it kind of routes out where you mount them. But overall, I've got a lot of use out of this tool. But when it does finally get to the point where I want to replace it, I'll be replacing it with the Hilmor compact bender. This is a little bit of a catch-all tray. There are a lot of sockets in here. My main socket set is down there. We'll see it in a second. There's a lot of sockets in here. It has a cobalt wrench that basically you can spin the handle. See, like this? Spin the handle and it will tighten or loosen a bolt. I haven't used that a whole lot, but I can see where that might come in handy on some tight applications. Most of the time I can use my regular socket set. There's a couple chucks in here. You know, these are all a lot of them are not magnetic. If I have an odd size, I can go in here and try to find a chuck size that will fit. Just something out of the ordinary, because most of the time it's 1/4 inch and 5/16, 3/8 some of the time, 7/16 some of the time. So if I need an odd size, I can usually find it in here. A few Allen wrenches, some screws, a couple lag bolts. Just sort of a little catch-all. It's more random stuff in here. But I don't open this one up a whole lot. It used to be my blower tray, but now I usually just take out the socket set and the wheel extractor. This is my socket set. It is made by Pittsburgh, which comes from Harbor Freight. Typically Harbor Freight's associated with low-cost tools. I got this as a Christmas present 1.5 years ago. It's actually been on the truck ever since then. I haven't had much of a problem with it at all. It's handled every job I've done so far, so they've actually done very well. Can't complain about it, and it's been my go-to socket set for a while now. On the top row we have relay sequencers, single pole, double throw, double pole, double throw, all the way down the line. Contactors on these 2 rows. We have the Sure switch, which I've now had for a couple years without using. Some 3-pole contactors, 2-pole contactors, and single-pole contactors. On this side over here we have some miscellaneous stuff. We have the trusty old ICM. This is 492. Yep, 492. Sort of a protection for your system. Haven't used one of those in a while either. Some float switches, a couple pan switches, in the back an inline switch. This is a crankcase heater in case I need an extra one, sort of a one-size-fits-all crankcase heater you can use in a pinch. We have a overload. Will absorb some of the overvoltage from like a lightning strike. Just some little odds and ends over there. We go down to the next row. We have thermostats. 2 Honeywell. We have one of these Total Line stats, but most of the time I come with 3000. We have some oddball stuff and a 5000, which is my typical thermostat. We have some wire nuts, thermostat staples, so 8-wire and 4-wire. I have a 500-foot roll of 14-wire. When I make repairs, I get wire off of this roll, and then some 10-gauge wire if I need more heavy-duty repairs, like an electric furnace or something like that. Have some gloves. Hey, Steve Laugh. Have a lot of batteries down below that. On the bottom row I have some gas and oil tools in this tray. You notice it's a small tray because I do not use them a whole lot, but I did want to have a few key items and a few key replacement parts like a universal igniter, like CAD cell. Just a few odds and ends. I can't think of them now, but not a whole lot of stuff in there, just a few tools for working on those items. We have our vacuum cleaner. We have an electrical box with different fittings in it. These are the Keter boxes I have a video on Zach HVAC, and a copper box that has quite a few copper fittings and a few access fittings and things like that. So they fit real nicely into this particular bin. You will see a bunch of random power tools up in the top here. I have a battery power grinder, which I've had for a while. And in the back here, there's my new DeWalt grinder, which is a corded grinder, which are just fantastic. I have a DeWalt 18-volt vacuum cleaner, If I need to carry something, I do apartment maintenance on one set of apartments. It's nice to have a cordless vacuum to just drag in there, vacuum out some stuff and be able to walk it right out without having to drag out a cord. A heat gun, little Ryobi radio. There's a set of Chicago sheet metal shears, which are very nice. I actually enjoy these quite a bit. Grinder blades, Sawzall blades, all sorts of blades and fittings, wire brushes are in here in case I need them. And all my batteries, Ryobi and DeWalt, are in here if I need them. So it's kind of a random tray, but it has all my power tools that I need on a daily basis. I also have a spotlight in there. If I'm checking out a job, I can use the spotlight. I have my Stinger Bacharach recovery machine up here. I have a few odds and ends. I have my jumper cables for the car. I have a 50-foot drop cord, a coil hose. I also have a pocket hose in there somewhere. Rope down at the bottom. I'm hoisting up through the shaft of the apartment building, basically is what it's for, because I have that 15-foot ladder to climb up, and I have a rope just to pull some of my stuff up when I need it. There's a small pump sprayer that actually I was using for condensers, but there's a larger one which would typically be used for condensers with the wand on it. That one actually was used for evaporators at the apartment building last time I used it. And on the back is some of Ralph's famous root beer coil cleaner. When I open up the door to the truck, my gauges hang on the side. We have the Hilmor analog gauges. We have the I manifold beside it. The other side we have the Testo 550s. I use them all still. I manifold sort of the first string, and Testo 550. In the wintertime I may use Testo 550 because it is not as critical. You can use dimanifold probes on the inside during the wintertime to make some more calculations, but a lot of times the Testo 550 will do the job there. I got a media filter and the air night down there for a job I have tomorrow, and that's pretty much all. The Testo 320 would be up here, but I'm charging it. Got a 12 pack of Pepsi. Got my hat, my other hat. Always have a spare shirt. This is the back of the truck. I can actually fit a package unit in the truck if I ever wanted to, which I don't. 2 ladders. I got a 6-foot ladder in here right now. Also have availability to an 8-foot ladder. It's just not on here right now. I have a 16-foot extension ladder. It has 3 sections, so I'm able to fit it here tightly in the corner. I don't have any ladder racks on the truck. I just haven't done it because I'm lazy, what have you. There's a hand truck right there from Costco. It actually turns into a cart as well. It's real nice. Some unistrut left over from the previous job. A 2x4 for whatever I need it for. Collecting money. And a PVC pipe. Usually I try to keep one stock on there. I don't have that much right now, because a lot of times I run into some drains I got to work on. Some all thread rod. Don't use it a whole lot, but every now and then it comes in real handy. That's the back of the truck. Got a little bit of water back there too, for if I don't have any water access when I'm brazing. I can wet my rags with it. Try to keep that full as well. But that's about it. As you see, guys, I've changed a lot of stuff since the last time I did a van video, which was a couple years ago, I think. Truck's obviously different, set up differently. The focus is on service. That's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. That's what I enjoy. Installs are great. You earn a lot of money doing installs. But I enjoy service. That's what I want to do with the rest of my career. I want to fix things. That's what I enjoy. That's the diagnostic part of it. Figuring out what's wrong. Trying to take something that's not working and turn it back into something that does work. Bringing something back to life that looks like it's about to die. But as you see, I took the fan motors off the truck. I listened to a lot of you who are discussing that you go get the OEM fan motor. We've discussed issues with Carrier Bryant Payne units that you can't put an OEM condenser fan motor on because you will lower the blade and cause issues, which I took into account. So, thinking about all those things, I said, well, I'll just keep the fan motors at the shop. That way I have them available to me 24/7 if I really need one, but I can save the truck space, stock some more things, stock it a little bit more efficiently, take the weight of the fan motors out, because who needs them back there the whole time? And you know, there's a couple 100 pounds of fan motors sitting around that you don't have to carry. So, but that's what I was thinking. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you saw anything on the video, any tools that you want to know more about. There's a lot of cool tools on there I like to use all the time. I mean, the manifolds are great. Testo and iManifold are great manifolds. The bender, dissuader, some of the testing equipment I really enjoy using. But let me know, give me some feedback, what you want to see. We can break it down to a much smaller video. But that's about it. I will see you guys on the next one.
I really like the truck, but I only want to do service. I no longer want to carry all these fan motors. I really want to get it down in the dirt and the grudge and fix some stuff. I want to mix up my stuff with some gas and oil.